CNR Extra here on CCTV. Traffic.
As far as practicable, the banking license.
And later on CNR Extra, Ghana Traditional Council urges compliance with ban on drumming and noise making for peaceful coexistence.
No nightclub. Kenya banyi nightclub ni na nyemi share without music je Sunday. No feno ba fe wo no le wo baba. No sumo no kwa fe wo sumo no feno kashi bi bona fe ni 20 joraba. O sumo wa kamuko.
Once again, you're welcome to CNR Extra. You can join us with your thoughts, submissions, and contributions via WhatsApp line 0204447033. We are also streaming live on CTube on YouTube. You can join us there. Hansen Ajimano, welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you, my brother.
How's it going?
It's going well. Well, it looks like it's going to be a good week. Fuel prices are going to reduce on Tuesday, on Wednesday.
But I think when I was coming, some of the
fuel prices are reducing. Actually, mean transport fares.
Transport fares,
yeah, for Beverly London.
So
she's looking up to
some 10% reduction.
Yeah, and exactly. Then also I think IMF may be approving
the
$600 million.
Of course, it's good news. But let's start with on this note because yesterday there was a downpour and parts of Accra got flooded. Let's bring you that insight.
Parts of the city of Accra experienced heavy rainfall on Monday, leading to the deterioration of certain major roads and rendering them impassable. The rain started in the morning and persisted for at least 4 hours, resulting in traffic congestion on key highways such as the Ofankor-Kumasi Highway and the Wager-Kaswa stretch. City News' Kwekwe Driamansa reports that due to the flooding, motorists had to navigate using a single lane as sections of the road were submerged. Kwekwe will now tell us more on this. Kwekwe.
Right, so it's become a perennial challenge for residents who live at flood-prone areas in the capital city to always battle flood issues. And this is because almost any time there is a downpour, the various drains are not able to contain and to absorb the water, the level of water that comes out. And so it then turns into the flooding situation. And that has been a major worry for stakeholders like government officials and also residents who find themselves in such areas. Today on the City Newsroom, we are reporting that after a downpour on Monday dawn, another flooding situation has occurred, and it has actually been experienced on the major roads we have in the capital city. Cars that are coming behind me are from the Tantra Hill area, and this is the Taifa Junction. And so if you move from here, it means you're going to Nsawam and Kumasi and other adjoining communities. But when you get here at the Taifa Junction, you cannot move as quickly as you would have want to do. You have to take your time to maneuver your way through the flood water here, and at times it becomes very difficult for drivers to move in this particular water. First, maybe I say Oma complain say Ayana Nyako Temuni Omuyim Musa Mwanga Sankasa Nisa. And after this, no much nobody after 2000,
and no más says what I so. The son to got and soon Jaquam and now a boy for one.
But oh, yeah, Juma, I'm saying it to be to me, Hamo say, a ye giddy.
I think it's a coffee station.
I mean, he said, Saturday morning.
I didn't judgment. Since so crap particular no, in fact, stand on his way. Go along way and win a chuki. A ma in soon 20 minutes and cock. It's so to an abatai. Yeah, not a hardon of a
say a giddy, that's a bit to take you by how many?
Because I'm a traffic. A cheaper, it me, it could be almost 30 to 1 hour. Now the trafficking.
Because
because of insurance.
It be more on my because of insurance. I'm okay to me safe.
I'm okay to me say I was so kind. Any taxi moves and it would me come. It become soon. Just be a boy, so it me a soon a pia a pushaman. There's a what me the busy baby are insurance.
Una day night or her, I can't saw no ever bought.
Because you see, the city no. Just so on by go take a try a quantum. Mutuaquanum in ya. No matter what to that hano. No matter what no my lady amano. Nursing soon to a caucus, a cock of boat with Neco. Just a party.
So it's not just one stretch of the road that has been impacted by the rains. The other side that people coming in from Ofankor to currently, as I speak, you can see that the road users are forced to use just one side of the road. That is because the other side has been covered by the flood water, which would definitely impede their movement. And so when they get to Taifa, they would have to force and use just one side of the road. And definitely this would mean that you have to take more minutes to cross the stretch of the road. So shops that are sited very close to this particular road are definitely going to have their share of the impediment that has been caused by the downpour. And this gentleman, I see him already working on his shop.
About 7 and so started say ba. So no ba necessary I started a baha bebre.
A movie free road ni ma beju.
Buy inside but it's so no a yiri free of Franco barrier and sana baha. A bisu free tantra, didn't you be shower ha na buy inside. Gata no form and it's so no bassa sinani. Iti emuram. Oh, iti enam konim ana baha because of say gata no underground no. Anything else it is a pen for bet me a bibi. No bet me a gata no for flow from Franco barrier. Abedru hadia. Says how we in a 2 betra.
Mamimbu Santi, Sano say in Sone ASA, where Jumana Mamma for to me Babatade.
Oh, I know they say Jumano. And them is since morning 200 citizens mania. Yeah,
on a regular income around this time.
Oh, 7,000, 8,000, 10,000, 11,000. It depends day no. But in so to the eye, say Jumano all the time. Yeah.
No, so Moye be before at least that will help you.
Oh, a bad boy, Juman, Papa, and a besama. It's soon a uniform quanimuna, a man goes slow, but in our 2 betra.
So the situation was not different here at the Malam and Kaswa stretch. And clearly, as you can see in your shot, portions of the road have been taken over by the flood water. And this is actually supposed to be a 3-lane road. But currently, you can see just one side of the road being used, and that's because this side, that is the 2 other lanes, have been taken over by the flood water. Well, how long is this going to persist? We do not know, but we're hopeful that the government would come through and work on if it is desilting the various drains, that will be done, and other
for a very long time until the various stakeholders take charge. The reason is the assemblies are supposed to do something about it. I remember very well when Samuel Atachia was the Works and Housing Minister. We went around, we went to Weja, where we notice that where Calvis has been reporting it every now and then when there's a downpour, and you can tell that there's do them. It has to be an effort, a collaborative effort, or it has to be, there has to be something to be done about this particular situation, because the assembly would come out to do it, the ministry will come out to do it. But if there isn't anything for it to be like it's a consistent thing being done, or consistently has been done, or regular thing being done, it's certainly going to come back again. I've spoken to an engineer about the same thing, and he spoke about the engineering work on the roads and all that also has to be blamed and all that. But it looks like this wouldn't end anytime soon.
There needs to be a multifaceted approach in ending this. I mean, if anybody has a fair idea of what flooding does to Accra, it's every single individual in the city near you. I mean, you've been on the roads every now and then. When you're coming from home, you put on your suit and it rains. You know, when you get here, Vivian is going to put you in your boots and then you go and do your flood reports. I mean, there's a flood island that we play on CNR where you are in the middle of the water. Well, that day, the water got close to your
somewhere at Agape,
to your waist level. I've been to that same particular house, and the man you spoke to, he's a pensioner who is into animal farming, and he had lost lots of animals that he breeds for the purpose for which he survives on. The point I'm making is that we continue to lose every single day. We continue to lose every single year when we don't address this. And you see, every time when it comes up, the analysis easily is to go into what government is not doing. But you see, what government is also doing is taking chunk of the money that we have as a people. The government in 2018 committed about 450 million Ghana cedis into ending flooding. When it comes to analysis of policies, sometimes you don't just look at the efforts that have been put in place. You look at the results. And that's why sometimes the question is asked whether the end justify the means. And so if we are putting all this into it and we are not getting the results, should we continue to be working that way? Because you see, every year, and the rains have just started, it may go on to somewhere September. And every year, unfortunately, we lose lives. And we are also pushing in money that is not solving the situation. And experts within the space have come to tell us that there's an underlying problem that we are not dealing with. That underlying problem has to do with our waste management system. It has to do with our drainage.
And I think how the roads are being engineered as well.
Certainly. And because some of the roads are engineered in such a way that the drains are not properly
because some of the people who spoke to are saying that the drains aren't that big to contain the volumes of rainwater that passes through them.
Building on waterways is a phenomenon that is a canker in Ghana and in Accra that we need to look at. I mean, you remember on the Awoshi Road, the Awoshi Pokwasi Road, we got a report around Fanmok Junction where somebody supposedly is building on the drainage close to the road. We've spoken to that is the Gas Central Assembly.
Bashir Mohammed.
We've not heard anything. We have to say some of these things, and it is these problems that we leave unattended to that leads to some of these problems. Of course, we can talk about attitudinal change, but have we built systems to drive the attitudinal change? Last time I was talking about taking a walk perhaps from here, from the Georgia Motors all the way to Circle, and having a difficulty getting a public bin that you can put your rubbish in.
Exactly.
And so the system that we run as a people do not push proper waste management. I mean, waste segregation. how best have we worked on waste segregation so that in every household we know that separate your plastics from your solid waste, and so that when the people who come for the waste can send it to the appropriate places for recycling. The Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Korte, when he said he was banning the activities of Aboboyas who pick the waste from our homes
on the highways,
said there were going to be an establishment of some sort of waste plants in every municipality. I mean, it's been close to a year or more than a year. So I've not seen anything.
So this tells you that the issue wouldn't end anytime soon. It's going to be there for a very long time. Attitudinal change also comes in here. The issue of government playing its role also comes in here, amongst others.
But for me, and so we need to look at solving this. But we are in the raining season again. Certainly the rains will come. Obviously, the kind of rains that we get in Accra, if my people in the Bono region have gotten those rains, they may be using it for their planting. But the rains will come. And so this is a call on to NADMO. We do not want to, let's reduce the number of lives and properties that we lose.
Exactly.
We should be proactive and make sure that we save lives. If we've not worked towards preventing it, let's work towards mitigating its impact.
Rightly so. So the rains are in. This is just the beginning. Let's see how the various stakeholders will take up this charge, including ourselves as citizens. We also have to play our role. Let's move away from this story. Let's go to the camp of the National Democratic Congress, where the flag bearer of the party, John Dramani Mahama, is calling for accountability as he promises transparency and open door policy.
Newly elected flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has urged Ghanaians to hold him accountable for the promises he makes during his campaign if he emerges victorious in the 2024 general elections. Now, in his acceptance speech following the NDC's primaries, Mr. Mahama emphasized his commitment to transparency and an open-door policy. Now, reporting on this development, City News' Northern Regional Correspondent Dinah Ngo brings us details.
In his acceptance speech, the former president addressed various sectors such as education, banking, health, and mining. Mahama pledged that the next NDC government would prioritize local participation to restore confidence in Ghana's economy and ensure that tax exemptions benefit Ghanaian businesses.
The NDC will reconsider the tax exemption regime, ensuring that any exemptions that are given are beneficial to the Ghanaian people. We'll further ensure that the extractive sector operates within a mutually beneficial tax environment for the stability of our exchange rate. We'll seek to make Ghana benefit more from its finite natural resources, and will encourage indigenously owned Ghanaian businesses that have the technology and capacity to operate their own productive mining concessions by themselves to do so. We have done it before, and we will do it again. Together with my team, we will enhance investor confidence in our country to attract credible domestic and foreign investors, especially in the manufacturing and light industry sector. This we will do by being transparent and not concealing economic data, such as the budget deficit, public debt, and our net international reserve.
In addition, Mahama stated that his administration will reinstate the licenses of banks that were revoked as part of the government's financial sector reforms.
We will restore indigenous Ghanaian investment in the financing and banking sector. And we will create a tiered banking system that will serve various segments of the market. We will give the opportunity for experienced banking hands who were laid off and needlessly to secure their careers once more, and move away from the menial jobs that they were compelled to take. As far as practicable, the banking licenses that were unjustly cancelled by this government will be restored. Ladies and gentlemen, our nation is still at the crossroads with crippling debts and an inefficient and wasteful government. We cannot continue this pathway. It is a betrayal of our people as a leader to keep doing things the same way when the results leave them poorer.
He also proposed the creation of a governance advisory council to enhance political governance and an independent value for money office to scrutinize procurement processes and combat corruption.
In that regard, we'll establish a governance advisory council to help improve political governance, curb corruption, and ensure the respect of human rights. This council will include representatives of civil society organizations, religious leaders, traditional leaders, and ordinary Ghanaians. And amongst others, they will be empowered to release a State of Governance in Ghana report every year. This report will guide governments in fine-tuning our good governance record. And as I said already, I'll run the leaders but most efficient government under the Fourth Republic by appointing not more than 60 ministers and deputy ministers. And cut the constitution review process and strengthen the separation of powers. Government procurement is recognized as a major source of corruption and misappropriation of public funds. We will therefore, among other measures, set up an independent value for money office to scrutinize all government procurements that are above a $5 million threshold or as shall be recommended by Parliament.
During the same event, former minority leader and member of Parliament for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu, expressed his belief that John Dramani Mahame's election as the NDC flag bearer would help rescue Ghana from the current government led by Akufo-Addo and Bawumia.
Their support and solidarity to his bid to the presidency. He comes to the presidency with some unique characteristics. At least for John Dramani Mahama, he is not the sketch. He is a full portrait, not the sketch. He is a full portrait of a leader. And for him, public service is a calling. And he's only come back to lead the NDC to rescue our country, as was described by the national chairman, for the country being run to its lowest ebb. Nana Addo Dankwa and Dr. Bawumia have run this economy to the nadir of economic.
So in Mohammed's acceptance speech as the flag bearer of the party, he made mention of a number of things, i.e. Curbing corruption, bringing in new policies, the size of government, as he's been saying over time, no more than 60 amongst others.
It appears the former president seems to be saying all the right things at the moment, but of course, if that is enough, that will be for the Ghanaian people to decide. But of course, the NDC, they've gone to the polls, they've given him an overwhelming endorsement, and I think that that is instructive in itself to get 98.9.
Yeah, 98.9%.
Yes. That's close to 99%. And so that means that the overwhelming majority of the NTC think that he's the best to lead the country. From here, I'm sure the NDC will go into engagement into selecting a suitable running mate as mandated by its constitution. We'll wait for the NPP to also do their selection process, and then it is game on.
So when he was also giving his speech, he made mention of the fact that now the primaries done and all forces must come together, which also Kojo Bonsu is also saying same, that let's join forces to rescue
I think it's very important, and then there has to be that genuine effort and attempt to bring people together. I mean, we've heard from the former minority whip, MP for Asawase, Munta Kamobaraku, thinks that there was a deliberate effort and attempt to oust him from Parliament, indicating that his removal even from the leadership bench is as a result of this. I mean, this will be somebody generally who will be pained. Yesterday, I heard the former president trying as much as possible to appeal to the members of Parliament, the 17 who have lost their slots. And I think that it was good that he reached out to them, particularly in that speech. And I'm hoping that the party executives and John Mahama's office will have a strategy to reach out to them individually, because it's left with about 2 more years of the NPP's government. And then if you need a credible minority to push the view of the NDC, the biggest opposition, you need these persons, and you don't want to have any of them straying away. You want to hold your fort. And because look at the numbers in the House, we are 2 years away from the major election, and then you need, just as you had when this new parliament took effect. And so I think that reaching out to them particularly was very good. The issue about the banking sector, it's interesting. A lot of people think that the current government did not handle the banking sector cleanup appropriately. The former president has taken a position that some of the licenses were revoked unlawfully. And so this is something he'll be interested in. I think that is, and the idea is good. We wait to see how it will come up in case he's given the nod to be the next president.
If you want to read more of the website, citynewsroom.com, everything is there. You can read, because the NDC in the Ashanti region has ensured that all issues
The leadership of the National Democratic Congress has expressed its commitment to resolving outstanding issues in 4 constituencies in the Ashanti region, paving the way for internal elections to be conducted. Their aim is to ensure full participation of its members to strengthen their presence in the stronghold of their political rival, the New Patriotic Party, that's the NPP. Now, City News' Ashanti regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani provides further details.
During the recent NDC primaries, all 43 constituencies in the Ashanti region participated except for 4 constituencies. Delegates in the Menchia South constituency did not partake in the NDC's presidential and parliamentary primaries due to unresolved matters. Additionally, Fomina, Adansiaskwa, and Mampong constituencies did not participate in the parliamentary elections, but their delegates were involved in the presidential elections. The NDC has acknowledged these gaps and is committed to conducting internal elections in these constituencies before the end of 2023. Augustus Andrews, information.
And this is the first time that NDC is doing our primaries very early. So I can assure the good people of Ashanti that Menchia South, by the end of the year, we can resolve that issue. And it's not only our Menchia South. We are having Adansia Square, Fomina, and Mampong. That area, we are doing the presidential. Adansia Square, Fomina, Mampong. So Ashanti region, 4 constituency is being put on hold on the parliamentary elections.
The NDC remains determined to expand its reach and gain more support in the Ashanti region, which is traditionally considered the stronghold of their main opponent, the MPP. Mr. Andrews emphasized that the party will focus on capturing more votes in the region.
The message is that we are going to take over Ashanti region, and we are going to get maximum votes that can let John Dramani Mahama become the next president of the Republic. Ashanti region is going to decide 2024 elections, and inshallah, we are going to get more seats, because look at the premise, how it's going. This is the first time that some constituencies that last 4 years we were struggling to get delegate aspirants, but this time we are getting 4 or 5, and they are all active. And we are having lawyers, we are having doctors in NDC right now. So I think the signal is good that we are.
Strengthen, increase their electoral success.
There's all the issues within some of the constituencies that could not hold the primaries, and also the chairman of the hoping to next.
I think it's good they are working to address these concerns. We should try as much as possible to build on the internal party democracy and make sure that every constituency will go through the appropriate processes, and if there are grievances, they are addressed. It's better for a party to delay holding its primaries and make sure that the process is fair and trusted by everybody, so that who they elect as a parliamentary candidate will be accepted by all, because the two political parties first have a base that they work with. And usually when you look at the data, it is when your base is frustrated and apathy sets within your base that there's a more likelihood that you're going to lose. And so I think that is what the NDC is seeking to avoid. The other thing is how interesting both political parties now seem to be taking interest in areas that previously you would have easily said are strongholds of each side. So from the 2020 election, you see the NDC saying that they are targeting 1 million votes in the Ashanti region. It is their view that when they win those votes in the Ashanti region, they win the election. You see the NPP say that they want to make inroads in the Volta region, say they are embarking on a lot of projects. All the two parties are claiming that they did more in each other's stronghold than the other. You go to the northern region, look at the 2020 results, you see that the NPP is making inroads. There are some regions that the two parties share I think in the northern region, for instance, 18 seats, NPP has 9, NDC has 9. And so I think I like the politics more when nobody has a safe zone, because what happens with these safe zones is that there's the tendency for the party to be focusing on other regions. And when you go to the Ashanti region, for instance, you get a sector of them complain that the NPP that they've been voting for consistently seem to be neglecting them. And some of the explanations that has been given is that it's because it's as though if you go to the Ashanti region would never vote for the NDC. There are certain jokes, if you go to the ground, they will say that I cannot repeat here. And so if that sort of dominance is threatened, I think that it will give that sense that we really, really need to work towards bringing development to any part of the country, irrespective of whose stronghold it is. And finally, the OSP has invited the aspirant in Edra Secretary Mase. We also are learning from our Ashanti regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani that the NDC itself is going to meet with her, and in that meeting they are going to use the opportunity to bring to her notice
in the K2 North. That is where the Magbana contested. There are also issues there. primary. Still watching CNR Extra here on City TV. Still to come. Head of family shot dead by unknown assailants in Botiano in the Greater Accra region. Kindly stay with us. We're back with more stories.
Regardless of what your point of view may be, he holds a mirror for you to see the reflection of reality.
2 young men, brilliant student, best student in his school. He says, I believe in this as my identity, my religion. You say no. You won't take him because it breaks discipline. I think we should not be at the wrong side of history.
Dispassionate opinions that shape your point of view.
As for the president's credibility in terms of anti-corruption, I'm afraid to say he's in tatters.
An analytical and non-partisan
I'll give you a
point
proverb,
of view.
and I can proverb. This year, forget it.
Dialogue that informs your socio-political point of view.
I'm young enough to wait for God's opportunity tomorrow, and I'm not in a haste.
Are you lacing your boots for 2024?
Absolutely not.
They are not lacing. What time you see the shoe you're wearing? Whether they are even boots? No, it's not Cambo.
A chance for the duty bearers to provide the citizens with an honest point of view.
We are being given rare and privileged access to a building which is part of the National Operations Directorate.
And we are so determined, to fight all manner of crime. Even the broad daylight robberies that we see and the footage say, we can say that we are going all out, to make sure that we contain them.
Educative chit-chat from the expert's point of view.
No, there is. In fact, that rumor has been said about so many vaccines. People said the tetanus vaccine causes infertility, and we are trying to
9 p.m. only on City TV.
You're welcome back. This is CNR Extra here on CCTV. You can join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comments by our WhatsApp line 0204447033. Let's bring you some more stories. And the Ghana Traditional Council is urging the public to comply with ban on drumming and noise making for peaceful coexistence.
And the Ghana Traditional Council is making an appeal to religious bodies and individuals to adhere to the ban on drumming and noise making, aiming to foster peaceful coexistence. Now, the council has formed a task force to ensure the month-long ban, which commenced on May 15, 2023. City News' Daniel Sakite provides further insights into the situation in a report read by Kwekwe Duyama Ansa.
The ban on drumming and noise making is a customary practice preceding the annual Homowo Festival celebrated by the Ga community. The Ga Traditional Council emphasizes the importance of religious bodies observing the ban to maintain harmony. It has cautioned that individuals who disregard the ban will be summoned and fined.
Ga Traditional Council, directive. Akwambele ayiban afi nuku izama afa akasidio koni woketu njole ajenshi woketu njole agbena bon pawo nyeme so mo be fa agekeshe ne kebe ame ane fi otomo ni wokamena ko shi be fe benje wokusun ni wokusun ni wa sina ba na wo isane me wawo ni woyi wokusu no no echi ame somogbe no echi ame nyoja mogbe ake obanyo jo no fe no shi no fe no ni ba fe o e afi no fe o e no le we babam ni wosumo no kwa fe o wosumo no fe no kashi din bona fe ni tu njoraba wosumo wakamukuna wona ponkwen wo mokomoko no ko ahun na ke wa gbe ni na shimo ko gbotu e to ebramo ye ni akemo wa bi cheme tashi na akwo ni akwo samane sana ketole e bela ke sha e no kumine ka ke shu ko gbotu e neken bi pie akwo moko ne ba gbotu ne kole e ba ke no ya no ele shin no awo cho amofia ma da fie owo ke cheme tashi ka akwo to ebramo ni sani ake shile ka ake buale.
During City News's visit to various parts of the capital, it was observed that the ban was being adhered to. The usual noise associated with trading activities, which often involves the use of public address systems, was noticeably absent. Even bus terminals known for loudspeakers announcing destinations remained silent. Assistant manager of the Royal VVIP station at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle explains why.
Today is the beginning of the ban on noise making. So they are off because we are abiding by the traditions of the land. Once we are operating within the Greater Accra region, we need to abide by all the traditions of the land. So that is what I can say. I think yes, it will affect us a bit. But once we also have loyal customers who know the kind of business we do, the service we render to them, they will come in. But with the new people, new customers, the megaphone actually helps to them to know that maybe there is a station around here and the destinations we go. So they drop and come inside. But once we are no longer using it because we are abiding by the traditions of the land,
to enhance public awareness regarding the ban on drumming and noise making, ensuring that everyone is well informed.
Sometimes I hard by the same radio also do brasso. Also, 10 crowns so they also do emra a wahaso. Mehosa chroma quiet, and as soon as 20 a boama chrome, so I quiet, yes. You know, Bibi swaya omona any announcements be. Now, Obi who said, yeah, festival. Sabaya, Obi mistake, Uncle Bonham. The senior one coming in say, they are starting it.
So it would be a step in the right direction if the public adhered to the ban on noise making and drumming, well, as part of the activities that are being done ahead of the Homo celebrations in the Greater Accra region. It's not going to be every part that will have the ban effected there. It's within a particular jurisdiction. So if you are within a particular area and you know for sure that this area is not allowed there, for instance, go to Ablekuma, you're not supposed to do things that will create some sort of noise. You come to Achimota, Dansoman, Tesano, you go to Adabraka, Jamestown, and all those places. You have to know. But when you go to places like Tema and all those things, sometimes it doesn't affect them, depending on the period. But well, it has to be adhered to.
I mean, traditions should always be upheld once it does not affect the public good. And even in this instance, there are some who have argued that that brief period of banning noise is very essential to the public good. And so our traditions make us, and so we should uphold it in whatever way it is. For those who make the economic argument that, for instance, say pubs, churches, and the rest, we have to adhere to it. But if you think that you really need your music, you can't be innovative without necessarily making noise. I mean, in 2016, a particular group organized a silent party. What did they do? They got headphones for everybody.
Oh, wow.
They got 2 DJs. So you have your headphone, You can switch to any DJ at any point in time.
And just listen.
And you are just listening.
In
you
your
are
ears.
just in your ears. You are just having fun. You alone. You are not affecting anybody. And so, I mean, there's no excuse whatsoever. The people. And everybody, we are such a noisy country. So we are, everywhere you pass, everybody is making noise. If the person is not shouting, you are just a person is shouting. Somebody is using megaphone. Somebody is playing it. Somebody is preaching. Somebody is selling some med. Oh, why
Too much noise.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
Too much noise.
You don't even have peace. You don't have money, and you are walking through the street. You don't also have peace
because of the noise.
Because of the noise.
Exactly. So at least if it's been adhered to, the public must adhere to this. And like we indicated, this is also a 1 month long period for you to have sound health. At least your ears will also go at peace for some time. You're still watching CNR Extra here on City TV. Still to come. Head of family shot dead by unknown assailants in Botiano in the Greater Accra region. Stay with us. We're back with that story.
And so, day 4 continues. What a welcome we had at the Pagapio Palace. From speeches to dancing to symbolic recognition, the palace treated us well. From the palace, the caravan headed to the crocodile ponds. Now to touch or not to touch? This was definitely not for the faint of heart.
Hey, Charlie, that's in some way.
And finally, on part 2 of day 4, we visited the actual northernmost border of Ghana. Watch the Heritage Caravan Diaries, day 4, part 2, every weekday.
Welcome back. Let's bring that troubling story where the head of a family has been shot dead in Botiano in the Greater Accra region by some unknown assailants.
No family of Botiano of the Greater Accra region. Now, the deceased, according to eyewitnesses, was allegedly dragged by his attackers and shot dead a few meters away from his house. Now, the following report by our Central Regional Correspondent, Calvis Tete, has more.
The deceased, Bakpo Alote, a father of 8, is the head of Kwame Anu family of Botiano. According to eyewitnesses, his attackers, numbering about 18, broke into his bedroom and inflicted machete wounds on him. The attackers are alleged to have dragged him to an area close to his house and shot him multiple times, resulting in his death. Here is an eyewitness narrating the incident to the media.
Abamole natural tu lele ni ba won lele ni ba kanshi ni lele egbo ni tuji esue bullet esue ni bi na apate hin ni am fele tu mo ko ni ba ko no am na lo ajigba ayi awo ni ko ni wata o me ni bi na me fele na fi am na ke ko awo aka ya afu ta re ho le ma wo kola ke tu mo am ba ma ya ma wo shi wo le aka me gbemi fun shi bi ani na me fo na ka so na me ka je fe gbemi fun
Relatives of the deceased are appealing to state security to investigate the matter and have the perpetrators punished.
Nkɔfo mu yɛ ade no mepɛ sɛ policefoɔ no nkyi ɔmo nyinaa ɔmo hu sɛ ɛyɛ ɔmo no ɔmo adwane ɛna ɔmo a ɔmo yɛ adeɛ no so me wɔfa no ehu ɔmo ɛna nkɔfo no so ɔmo bɛyɛ adebɔne so ɔmo te park no so palace park hɔ no no ɔmo na ɔmo yɛ saa adebɔne no ɛna sɛsi ano so ɔmo ato afi park hɔ adwane yɛn hu obiara eti mpatsɔ mesrɛ mo bebree na mo ni ne mu nhwehwɛ nkɔfo no ma yɛ ti ɔmo atwitwa yɛ papa yɛ bɔ tu agu yɛ papa enum ɛna ɔmo abɔ tu so agu ne nsa ho atwa ne nsa kakra ne nsa bɛti.
Rumia je chale no meni here kama na metete ehie amena na mekome ni amechache mekoma agba ye police station no wa agobeti atawo na kan me ha wo na ka woku efe dwomo koni woku abi na ka gbema sana ka wobi le mi ni efe eja ke na kan ta me be ko bebote ano abe ano ma ka shidi no gbaja no to ni to ni wobi le ka gbuwo ake me ni gbe woni nation no o ka me gbe ya me police station.
The traditional authority in the area is concerned. Ni Clement first made an attempt on his life but could not.
And I saw everyone. So the same people came and murdered him. Because the way I saw them, I off all my lights and they were knocking the door, but they realized that there was nobody in the room. So some of them were telling them they should leave. We are about 6 people that they target to kill on that particular day. The Agbanfuache of Botiano, Ni Ama Oshin, the Adontini of Botiano have been murdered.